Everybody. We'll continue the Operation Encore reading. And this is a file that I found to be quite interesting. It's the FBI interview of Muased al-Jarrah, the Saudi affairs director located in Washington, D.C., that has contacts with Islamic militants overseas, specifically al-Qaeda. And as you can see here, Washington Field, contact Muased al-Jarrah. On May 5th, 2004, Special Agent Blank and Special Agent Blank contacted Muased al-Jarrah at his residence in McLean, Virginia. By way of background, investigation at WFO Washington Field Office reveals that al-Jarrah is a diplomat at the Royal Embassy Saudi Arabia holds, and Blank. In addition, al-Jarrah is the head of the Islamic Affairs Department at RESA. Al-Jarrah was previously contacted on March 5th, 2004 and May 4th, 2004 regarding his possible involvement in criminal activity. I believe that criminal activity was child pornography that he possessed. And the FBI had this. Now, I don't know why al-Jarrah wasn't arrested, but I think we can all imagine why he wasn't, because the State Department won't allow the Department of Justice to prosecute its allies, even if he has ties to Islamic militants. Separate communications were submitted to the file regarding those contacts. Al-Jarrah's possible involvement in criminal activity to various visa issues, redaction, being utilized by Washington Field Office as a means to contact Al-Jarrah. During the course of this contact, there was no mention of the previous contacts or the nature of these contacts by al-Jarrah or the agents. Now I'm going to make myself disappear here. Due to the nature of the contact, surveillance was instituted in order to, and this is a long redaction, surveillance was instituted by Blank at al-Jarrah's workplace at approximately 3 p.m. Surveillance was instituted by Blank at al-Jarrah's residence at approximately 5:10 p.m. At approximately 5:12 p.m., al-Jarrah arrived at his residence, exited his vehicle, and entered his residence. Surveillance was concluded at approximately 8:15 p.m. A spot check at the residence at approximately 9:30 p.m. indicated that al-Jarrah's vehicle was still located at his residence. During the course of the surveillance, neither Blank nor Blank detected, and this is a long redaction. Agents met with al-Jarrah from approximately 6:30 p.m. until 8 p.m. Al-Jarrah was relaxed and friendly to the agents throughout the contact. Results of the contact are as follows. After exchanging greetings, al-Jarrah invited the agents into his apartment, asked them to have a seat on a couch in his living room, and offered them tea and pastries. Al-Jarrah's television was tuned to an Arabic language channel where the agents arrived. Al-Jarrah received 6 or 7 such channels. Al-Jarrah's brother traveled to Yanbu, Saudi Arabia, subsequent to the recent killings of 5 foreign workers at a petrochemical plant, but that he had not spoken with him. Al-Jarrah believes that an al-Qaeda leader was involved in the Yanbu attack. Al-Jarrah also believes that this person is also associated with the London-based Saudi dissident group headed by Saad al-Faqi. Al-Jarrah does not believe that since al-Qaeda began attacking Muslims in Saudi Arabia, that Saudis, in general, are sympathetic to the al-Qaeda cause. Now, just to add, it's unknown how many exactly there are in the Saudi kingdom, whereas they're known in the Sudari 7, the 7 sons of the founder of Saudi Arabia, King Ibn al-Saud. And there's approximately anywhere between 5,000 to 15,000 members. I think it's close to like 20. But, we're not definitively known. Anyway, there is a number of these people within the kingdom that are not as liberal in their beliefs. Some of them are very militant. And this was portrayed with bin Laden, that during the height of the al-Qaeda's growth in the period between 1997 to 1999, there were some Saudi sympathizers that were donating to bin Laden and al-Qaeda, knowing full well what bin Laden and Dr. Ayman al-Zawahiri and others were involved in. Now, you might ask well, why is the United States allied with a country that has that considers the United States an enemy in certain respects. People within the kingdom, I'm not saying all the Arabs in Saudi Arabia kingdom are enemies of the United States, but isn't that the same with Israel, right? We see these, people from the Likud party, or even worse, the religious Zionist party, like Benzalel Smotrich and Ben Gvir, and people of this nature. Well, they don't give a shit about the United States. They use them to try and achieve a geopolitical means with the Israeli government in expanding its borders from the river to the sea. That's not conspiracy. It's a fact. Well, when you have 16 and 19 hijackers from Saudi Arabia regarding 9/11, I mean, what are they teaching at these madrasas? Now they could say they're all about reform. There's no reforming in ideology. The ideology is Wahhabism. And whether bin Salman and King Salman, if he's even functional, doesn't matter who's in charge there. The clerics can always get the agreements of the people. And when you have corruption that basically benefits only a chosen few, well, the people that are going to be taken advantage of are going to rise against it. We see this in Egypt, and we saw this in Algeria. And what happened? Groups like the Armed Islamic Group overthrew its government, or tried to, and in fact, it won an election against the government, and the army revolted. In Egypt, they killed President Sadat, members of Gamma Islamiyah and Egyptian Islamic Jihad. So Saudi Arabia is, there's a lot of sympathizers to the Salafist ideology. It's just not as pronounced as it used to be. Jarrah believes that the GOSA and the United States government should address the terrorism issue jointly. Jarrah thinks that the United States government has tightened its security to a point that it would be difficult for al-Qaeda to move any of its operatives into the United States. No, it wouldn't be that hard, because it's very easy to get inside the United States. Maybe after 9/11, yes, it's harder because now security is being paid attention, but it's too late. 9/11 already happened. Now, fast forward to 2024, our borders are wide open. And with the recent events in Israel, just with Gaza alone, ensured that we're going to be attacked. No doubt in the future. And watch, the intelligence community will basically find out that they had enough information to basically stop it, but it wasn't either acted upon or shared. That's what happened with 9/11, the embassy bombings in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, Kenya and Tanzania. Now, Jarrah does not believe that there are any al-Qaeda operatives here at the time, which he lied, because, again, in the Operation Encore files, showed that al-Jarrah did have contacts with al-Qaeda and Islamic militants inside the United States. The FBI found this out. It was covered up by the State Department. I don't get it with, people that show their loyalty to the Democrat or Republican Party when this happens. Your own government is basically sided with the people that helped facilitate the attacks of 9/11, and you vote for these people. I tell everybody not to vote. Revolt. Demand that the government is made for the people, by the people, for the people. Well, how do we do that? Well, stop playing the game. Stop being so divisive with one another. Yeah, times are rough. I agree. But that doesn't mean that we have to look at each other like the enemy. The enemy is the United States government. The enemy is Saudi Arabia. The enemy is the Israeli government. They're the enemy. It's funny how they say the axis of evil, Syria, Iran, China, North Korea, right? The real axis of evil is the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Jarrah believes that al-Qaeda would direct its attacks at targets in Saudi Arabia and Europe. Whoopie-doo. I mean, the CIA knows this. Even the FBI. Jarrah was aware that several members of the bin Laden family resided in the United States prior to the September 11 attacks, which, by the way, many of them were flown out of the country. At the the FBI wanted to interview these people. But the State Department, again, pressured Richard Clarke, the head of the National Counterterrorism, National Counterterrorism, and the CIA's own director, George Tenet. We're listening to people like Secretary of State Colin Powell, National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, and of course, George Bush. Get these people out of the country. One person, Abdullah bin Laden, lived in the Northern Virginia area and headed the World Assembly of Muslim Youth. Jarrah believes that private donations to non-government organizations, NGOs, has diminished significantly since the September X because the FBI was investigating where all the funding came from for 9/11. Prior to indicating that Abdullah bin Laden lived in Northern Virginia area, al-Jarrah appeared to feign that he could not remember his name or the name of WAMI, which is the World Assembly of Muslim Youth. Agent believed that this is an attempt to disguise his knowledge of either of those parties, because al-Jarrah's a fucking liar. That's why. Al-Jarrah was talkative and cordial, and the conversation remained general in nature. Al-Jarrah suggested that the interaction between representatives of the GOSA and the United States government would assist in bridging the gap between our cultures, that we should meet again in the future. By the way, we have nothing in common with Saudi Arabia, nothing. With Israel, at least you have, a similar in nationals. But there's nothing in common with Saudi Arabia in anything. Religious, cultural, nothing. That's the reason why they're not as open as Israel is. Israel is as open because they know that the evangelical Christian community, which is the largest voting bloc in the United States, basically will acquiesce to the demands. Because the funny thing is that in religion, when it comes to theology, specific tenements of religion, Israel believes that, the Mashiach comes with the building of the third temple and, the 144,000 and saved and whatnot. Christians actually believe the opposite. They believe that, Christ will come with the Battle of Megiddo and all the armies of the world will happen upon in Israel, and Christ comes back and gives everybody a second chance, and those who don't convert die, including the Jews. I mean, that's why they use one another. Imagine, thinking this way, really thinking this way. John Hagee, based in Atlanta, I think Atlanta or Florida, excuse me, believes that we should actually donate money to send Jews back to Israel. But why? Because we need all the Jews in Israel to bring about the Battle of Megiddo. And John Hagee used to be on, Reagan's foreign policy board. Imagine a religious fundamentalist like him, who hates the world, who hates everything, and then can't wait to die. That fat, bloated piece of shit. Prior to departing, al-Jarrah asked whether he could answer any questions that the agents may have. The agents responded they did not have any questions and thanked al-Jarrah for his time. Al-Jarrah offered to take the agents out to dinner, and plans were made to do so on May 25th, 2004 at 8 p.m. Al-Jarrah provided his business card to the agents, asked him to call him at any time prior to the meeting, that he would take the call to the agents and do if anything came up. Now, look, al-Jarrah was playing these things. Yeah, I got nothing to hide, and, I'll treat you here and there. Meanwhile, he can't stand people, can't stand the country. And the FBI can't really pressure al-Jarrah because of the pressure from the State Department shown with deference to the Saudi government. And this is why there's no justice when it comes to 9/11. Is because no matter if we investigate Saudi Arabia, we're not going to get anywhere. What do you think about Israel? And this is the reason why we need saner voices to basically talk about the Israeli angle into 9/11, which is pre-intelligence, nothing more. No, the Jews didn't hijack the planes or remotely control them from the skies. But did they have information that could have stopped 9/11? I'm willing to believe that. Would they want 9/11 to happen? Sure, because it benefits them as well as Saudi Arabia. So the people that would actually have intimate knowledge about specifics, which is what we're missing, the only thing missing now, date, time, when, where, and what, right? would be the people that were following the hijackers to begin with. And who were they? Saudi and Israeli intelligence, CIA to an extent from afar, and the NSA. Now, I'm not saying the CIA and NSA knew about 9/11 or even that Saudi Arabia and Israel did. Now, is it regional speculation? Sure. Because if they're lying about certain things or hiding certain things, it seems really suspicious. Wouldn't you agree? And I think now we're, after the height and the fall, the thankful fall of the 9/11 truth movement, maybe now cooler heads will prevail, more rational people, the no planers, the no hijacker, living hijackers, the Judy Wood space beams and all this. You don't hear of any, people like Christopher Bolin, Rebecca Roth, loose change. You don't hear of these people anymore. Why? Because they don't learn anything new. And second, they really didn't have any, even a general knowledge about the subject that they claim to be experts on. Well, you don't hear of any of these people anymore. But there's still some of us around here, and we'll report dutifully. And maybe in time, we can get somewhere regarding justice. Because I still got to believe it. Because what are we in this for? I'm not in this for money. I don't ever ask for money. I mean, people donate that Substack. That's very nice of them. I try to put out as much content as I can, but we got others. Nelson Martin, Sean Russell, Darren Harvey, Project New American Century, Jonathan Bellasorte, and of course, Leonardo da Salvaggio. There's some of us out here, still trying to spread the word, still trying to give the public information that can be acted upon, or information that you haven't come across because the truth movement failed to inform you. They made you believe in the ridiculous. It's not your fault. You fell victim to it. So did I. I didn't believe a plane hit the Pentagon because I watched Loose Change back in 2007. But when I, started researching properly, responsibly, looking at information, even information that I said, wow, this is coming from the government. And then, I put it through the scientific method. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I was wrong. First step to knowledge is to admit you know nothing at all. So, and you got to have humility. And, after that comes a reputation. And I hope that I've earned the respect of the people in trying to inform my audience and others responsibly, where I can be respected in this field. And because the only true agenda I have is I want to hold people responsible for what I consider the worst terrorist attack upon the United States, which led to the current predicament that we're all in now. And is the reason why I do these chapter readings of documents and files, because the truth movement won't do it because they don't read. And I'm not talking about the truth movement in, the mass. I'm talking about the self-professed experts, people like Richard Gage or Christopher Bolin or Rebecca Roth or Jason Burmis, Judy Wood, Barbara Honegger. These people are not experts, for one. And two, they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. And it's a shame that for years, these people were given attention. And people actually took them seriously. Well, now they're gone. And the only people standing, still making new content, are us. And I would love to see new voices. And we're coming out at the end of the year. And I always try to implore my audience to, have enough confidence in themselves. This is one thing I lacked years ago, that I could never imagine myself in front of a camera. Oh, I'm too ugly, or I don't like the way I sound. But when you get past that vanity and realize that it's up here, what counts, we're right here, what counts. To get the message out, to get the information out. Because when you pass information to another person, you're empowering that person. And it feels good to do that. To know that, sometimes you'll feel alone because you don't fit into a certain clique or a group because, to them, it's all about, exaggerating the story or profiting from it or becoming famous from it, getting attention. I'm not, this is the wrong subject to get attention to. It's a dying subject, but it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I'll continue to do so. So like I said, when I do these chapter readings, when I do these videos, live videos, and post on YouTube and Odyssey, I'm hoping that I can reach a big enough audience where in the future we'll build a new movement, an empowered movement, where enough people can say, "Hey, I didn't know about this," and then somebody else will basically find something that I didn't, and they can, hopefully use it to empower other people or to bring somebody, you know, prosecute somebody. I don't, this is what we got to fight for. We're fighting for the victims. We're fighting for the victims' families. And that's all that matters. Not me. I don't matter. But what matters is the effort. And I'd love to see people who follow this channel who, to write an article. You don't want to do a video. You don't have to, I'm not an expert. Read something, you do something, try to pass information to others, because this is what counts. The people that are, the people that collected intelligence, whether it's Israel, Saudi Arabia, the United States, these people are still alive. We got to make a try, an effort into, building a case or finding information that we didn't find before. And, maybe we use it against somebody to prosecute. Like I said, what else are we in this for? Look, enough for the ramble. Merry Christmas to everybody. And, I lost my original channel. I'm going to rebuild, but I'm going to basically make it into a huge database. A lot has happened to me in the second half of the year. My mother passed away. I lost the apartment. It was too much money. It was, over $3,000 rent. I found a place to live now. And so I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to upload more videos to the new channel, and I'm almost there. I'm almost there. But there'll be always content I'm going to publish out, always. So bigger and brighter things are happening, and I'm going to be interviewing Robin Swan soon from Florida Bulldog. I'm thinking about getting I forgot his name, to try and come on the show, James Bamford. So I got some ideas I'm still coming up with. So be patient, and guys, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and see you in the next video.